Hey girly pops, guess what? It's that time of the year. And I'm obviously back on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. And I'm going to show you guys all the books I read this year and talk about them a little bit. Drum roll, please. Don't worry, I won't give any crazy spoilers if you haven't read these books. It's okay. Starting off in January, I read a Christmas book, which I think I know. I put it off for too long, and then I was like, I still want to read one, so I read it in January. This is Love Holly by Emily Stone. I have never heard of her or read any of her other books, but I really like this one. I think I gave it like a 4-star, maybe 3.5 star. I did like it, but don't come at me. Christmas romances are really hard to write because I feel like they all end up being very similar, but this one stood out to me because I feel like, yes, there was a romance, but I feel like the main plot was like a friendship between the main female character and an elderly lady, and it was beautiful, and I cried, and I really liked it. Also in January, I read my favorite book series of all time, and it was the perfect time to get into it because bam, I love this series so much. I'm not going to talk a bunch about it because everybody on the internet is talking about it all the time, but I love it. I was mad Xaden was not under my tree this year for Christmas, but it was great because I read these two, and then I only had to wait like a week for Onyx Storm to come out, and now I'm like, I was so spoiled that I didn't read it until, there was 3 out pretty much, and now I have to wait. Side note, look at my tabs. When my boyfriend read this, he was so mad that I tabbed it, but I don't care. I'm happy I did. I would like to preface that if you don't know how I read and you're a reader, I'm going to trigger a lot of readers by the way you see how I read. I'm not sorry. Putting it out there. In February, the only thing I read was Throne of Glass. This is the order I chose to read it in. And I liked it. I think it was good. I think I was a little bored at times, but that could also be because I was reading in first person for a really long time, and then it switched, like, obviously this is in third person, and I was like, what? I like it. I liked it. It was good. Can't wait to read more. In March, I read 2 books. One of them I don't have with me because I loaned it to my mother to read, but it was, I think it's called The Woman in Me. It was the Britney Spears book. I read that, and then I looked at her TikTok, and I was more confused than I have ever been in my entire life. Yeah. I also read A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is where I feel like I'm going to annoy some of you. I don't read a series all at once. Lock me up. I don't care. That's how I live. A lot of people crapped on it, and they were like, it's a Christmas episode, like a spin-off. I really liked it, okay? I never expected it to be like, from like, you get Moore's perspective, you get like, or her point of view, and I thought it was really interesting. I liked that it was short, and that I was getting glimpses of like their lives, like that it's not all like war and seriousness and drama. I liked it. April was another short reading month. The only book I read was Song of Achilles. I put this off for so long. I didn't do a lot of research on it. I bought it because it was viral on TikTok, and it sat on my shelf for I don't even know how long, and I thought it was about war. There is war, but I didn't know this was like LGBTQ plus. I didn't know there was this like the trope. I mean, this might be a trigger, but the trope is like kind of like tragic love, and it was so good. I think I gave this a 5-star. This book was in my soul. Okay, this will forever live in my soul, in my head, rent-free. Today is a little interesting, and here is why. So I finished Runaway Love by Melanie Harlow. I have never read anything else by her before. I actually picked this up because I liked the cover and the sides. I didn't read about it, and it took me like 2.5 months to finish it because to me, I loved what it said on the back, and it was fast-paced in the beginning, but then I'm not kidding you, it was like interesting, and then I was like, guys, we're repeating this same exact thing over and over and over again, and we're just like reading about it over and over and over again, and then the end got interesting. The second book I read in February was Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I love her. She's a new author. She's outstanding. And she's also drop dead gorgeous. My God. And there is nothing I love more, and that's why I love Fourth Wing, is a jaw-dropping ending. I want my neck to break because I am so like, I want whiplash from reading the last chapter of a book and being like, what are we doing? I like to be traumatized by my books. So June is a little bit different because I listened to 2 audiobooks, and before you go, audiobooks don't count as reading. Those don't count towards your reading count. No, yes, they do for me. If they don't want to for you, fine. But for me, they do. Those 2 audiobooks I listened to, I will never, ever take back that I listened to them because they were lights up. That's how I wrote it on my sticky note. Lights Out and Caught Up by Navessa Allen. You know that song where it's like, 2 at the same damn time. Me, Josh, and Nico. Anyways, I digress. I also read Good Girl, Bad Blood. One of my favorite things about her, Holly Jackson, is that I love, let me see if I can find it. Like I love how it's like, it'll go between first and second person, or third and first person. And then you'll also get like illustrations sometimes. It's mostly like you'll get like maps, or I'm trying to think, like she'll show evidence. In July, I read a classic, and I'm not like the like original classics, but you know what I mean. So I read the second Harry Potter book, The Chamber of Secrets. The Harry Potter book, I liked it. August is going to be a little controversial. So let's first start with the non-controversial book I read, which was A Court of Silver Flames. I put this off for so long because I did not like Nesta. I did not like Nesta. I was a certified Nesta hater. A Court of Mist and Fury is still my favorite one out of the series. Cassian, my man. I loved reading about the female friendships. Now on to the controversial book that I absolutely hated. If I could give it a negative star, I would, okay? If I could give it -5 stars, I would. Terrible. September was another big month for me, but I had some flops and some not so flops. One of the first books I read in August was Everything I Know About Love, and this was really good. When I started it, I was really worried because I saw everybody was like, if you're a woman in your 20s, you need to read this. You need, like, this is a must. And I was like, I don't know. And then I got it and I read it and I was getting into it, and I didn't have the traditional, like, college experience. I'm not a drinker. I'm not whatever. And like there was a lot of that in here. And I was like, well, I'm not really relating to this. But the main concept of it all, I really related to, and I cried. And I think it is a beautiful book. And I do agree. I think every woman in their 20s, you need to read this. The second book I read was by Colleen Hoover, All Your Perfects. And before you guys are like, Colleen Hoover, some of her books are a hit. Some of them are a huge miss. A little background, I started, like, I feel like so many people did, on It Ends With Us. So I bought so many Colleen Hoover books, and because I bought them, I do want to read them. And I feel like there have been like 4 hits. It had so much potential to be a beautiful story in the beginning, because it's like a woman who really, really wants kids, and she's trying and then struggling in her marriage because of that. But the ending was like also going to be controversial. Was The 7-Year Slip. I heard this was such a good romance book. I thought it was very mid. And I have read lots of books without spice. I don't want you guys to be like, well, there wasn't a lot of spice. No, I felt like I needed more. The next and last book I read in August was The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I love this book, and I think the reason that I enjoyed it so much is I had expectations going in. So I saw a lot of people saying like it was so cheesy and they didn't like it because of that. I went in expecting it to be cheesy. I'm maybe 22. One of my favorite authors, Hannah Grace. I read Wildfire. I loved it. The rain scene. Moving on to November, I read Leather and Lark, which I think was good. Did not compare to Butcher and Blackbird. I'm sorry. I felt like this storyline was not as good as Butcher and Blackbird. Lark's character didn't fully make sense to me. Like, because she was written as such a like normal, sunshiny kind of character in the first book, and then all of a sudden she's like collecting teeth. I also read The Prisoner of Azkaban. This one was hard for me because I watched Harry Potter. I know things, and like knowing certain deaths happen makes it so hard to read because then I get attached and I'm like, no, I know what happens to you. Last but not least, December. And I did read a Christmas book this year, and it was one I impulsively bought because she came out with it this year by no other than Hannah. It's normally on the bottom. Hannah Grace, Holiday Ever After. And this was so good. This is the best Christmas book I've ever read because it wasn't the super cheesy Hallmarky. It gave me like Gilmore Girls town vibes. However, the main character was so like driven by her goals. So that's what I read in 2025. So let me know if you read any of these books and how you felt about them because I need to know. And let me know if you reached your reading goal this year because for once I surpassed mine. See you next time.